Hello and welcome back to Mindset Matters. My name is Victoria. Thank you for joining me today. I'm super excited to be here with you. Today we're going to talk about a few different things. I'm kind of mixing it up today. And first I want to talk about my ins and outs for 2024. So what are things that I'm bringing into this year and what are things that I am leaving behind? So I've got a few to share. And then the big thing I want to talk about is trying new things and new things that you can be doing in 2024. So I've got a whole list of things that I think are worth trying. And then I'm going to talk a bit about my favorite quote that I'm bringing into this year with me. I was going to do a bunch of quotes, but honestly, I only thought of one. So this one was a new one for me, though. I heard it recently, so that's the plan for today. I'm glad you're here. Let's get into it. The wait is over. You guys can now download your free guide to daily fulfillment on mindsetmatterswithvic.com, where I teach you exactly how to bring more resilience, presence, and gratitude into your everyday life through actionable steps. I seriously poured my heart into this guide, and it includes so much great information on how these 3 pillars have changed my life. To be as dramatic as it sounds, I share all my secrets, my tips, and tricks to how you can start experiencing more resilience, presence, and gratitude every single day. So after the episode, head over to mindsetmatterswithvic.com to download yours for free. All right, so my first in for 2024 is goal setting quarterly. This is a new thing for me. I recently saw a TikTok where this woman was talking about how she went to a party. She said the party was filled with millionaires and they were all talking about quarter one. And she realized, or she did some research, or she was just explaining how a lot of successful people look at the year quarterly. We think of businesses do this, quarter one, quarter two, what are your targets? What are the goals for this quarter? And it got me thinking about how in my own life, I like to set like monthly goals, and I like to think of, especially at the beginning of the year, I think we all think of like, okay, what do I want to do this year? But when we think about it, this year is so big and it can be a little bit overwhelming to think about all the things you want to accomplish. And what happens is, we've all been there. We set all these goals and none of them get done. Or suddenly it's like the summertime and you're like, oh, wait, what was on my list? So I'm setting goals quarterly this year. And I've decided that each quarter is going to have 2 main themes, maybe 2 or 3. And I'm going to see how that goes. So I have 2 main kind of focuses for this first quarter, and then of course within that I'm going to break those into kind of sub goals for myself. And I am really good at building habits, and this is something that I'm going to be talking about in the free guide to daily fulfillment, which is now available for download, mindsetmatterswithvic.com. But in the guide I talk a lot about habits, and I share some practices that could become habits if you choose to do them. And again, these things have really helped me in my life. So I hope you guys will go download that free guide. Again, it's free, so why not? It's like 10 pages. It's juicy, okay? There's some really good info in there. So yeah, setting goals quarterly. Number 2 for my ins, and this one might be a surprise, but I think at least for this quarter, I'm bringing in sobriety into my life. Now, just for context, I'm not a big partier. I definitely had fun partying a little bit back in university. But, lately I'm not a big partier. I'm not a big drinker in general, but I kind of want to give myself more than 1 month. I've done sober months before, like sober October, sober September. I've done dry January in the past, but I'm deciding that I'm doing a dry quarter one. So through now until the end of March, I don't want to drink. And I just want to see how that feels because I don't really love alcohol. I don't love feeling hungover. And I know it's more popular these days to kind of dig into a little bit of the science of how bad alcohol actually is for us. Anyways, long story short, I just don't really like how I feel after I drink, and I don't want that feeling. I don't like being hungover. I don't like being groggy and tired or anxious. It's just not worth it to me. So I'm bringing in sobriety. And one thing I'll say that I've been doing a lot since this summer is drinking mocktails. And I've been testing out making a bunch of different mocktails. And I find that if I pour a little mocktail into like a wine glass, it's so refreshing and nice. Like that curves any desire to have a drink, which again is not very often for me anyways. Number 3, another in for 2024 is quality time. I want to bring in more quality time, and this could be with myself, with my friends, with my family. And what I mean by quality time is like carving out plans with intention and making a plan where I'm doing maybe an activity. Again, I'm going to share a lot of things, new things for 2024. So maybe some of these things will be with friends, with family, with myself. But yeah, I just want more quality time. I want to experience more with the people that I love and do new things. And number 4 for my ins, fitness. You guys know I had my knee surgery back in November, and I'm finally at a point where I'm able to go back to the gym, and I'm slowly increasing what I can do with my legs, and I'm up to like a 10-minute walk. I'm doing that every other day for a bit, and then I'm going to do every day, then 15 minutes. So it's really slow and steady build, but I did go to the gym the other day for the first time, and oh my goodness, I was so sore. I did a push day, so shoulders, chest, triceps. I could not believe how sore I was. It's just a feeling I haven't had in so long. Oh, but it felt so good, and I really missed that feeling. So I'm excited to bring back fitness into my life. Okay, a couple outs. One big out for me, situationships, and this kind of, okay, actually, I'll talk about these separately. Situationships are an out. I have always been the type that I don't want a boyfriend just to have a boyfriend. But I also don't want a short, unclear expectation situationship. It's just not for me. I don't care. I just don't care. Okay, moving on. This one, I don't know if I want to talk about this. Okay. So I noticed this about myself, but something that's out for 2024 is past relationships. I learned this about myself recently, that I have a tendency to, I guess, reconnect with like old flames, or kind of let past situationships kind of come back into my life somehow. And I don't know why I do this. I don't know where it started. But this is definitely a habit where something will end, and then maybe it's months later, even like a year later, I've like reconnected with someone, and it's like, for what? Like, hun, it didn't work out the first time. Why do you think it's going to work out now? You know, or what do you expect to feel that's going to be different? And I think a lot of it is, actually, this is a new thought, but I find it really hard to like someone. So maybe it's like somehow the familiarity of trying something for a second time that's just like, well, you know, I sort of liked them last time, so maybe this time I could really like them. Which is just not right and not a reason to be with someone. So yeah, I don't want any past relationships. I don't want to see someone I used to see. I don't want a situationship. And yeah, okay. And then the last out that I'll talk about is self-doubt, or just questioning, doubting my path in general. So I have talked about this before, but I do have a very strong connection to the universe where I really trust that everything is working out for me. And I think that's the best way to live your life. So whenever I have any self-doubt that creeps in, or I start questioning, like, what the heck am I doing, or why is this happening, I'm just going to stop myself. And if it's a thought, I'm going to stop myself before I even voice it out loud. We don't want any of that. And I will say that I've already started developing this habit, and I'm pretty good at recognizing when I do this now. So, yeah. Okay, let's get into new things to do in 2024. So I made this list. I hope I think of a few more, to be honest, as we go. But first, let's talk about why. Why the heck should you do new things? Why should you do the things that are on this list? Well, first of all, doing new things expands your comfort zone. And expanding your comfort zone, I believe, is such a good form of growth. You get to learn new things about yourself, experience more, and the more you expand your comfort zone, the more you're going to be able to do new things. And again, that becomes a habit. Why else? Well, because doing new things is scary, and I think scary is good. You don't want to do something that's absolutely terrifying if it's like bad for you, but doing new things, putting yourself out there, experiencing more of the world, scary in a good way. Another reason is new things often means new people. And by doing new activities or signing up for things, you can meet new people, you can expand your friendships, get new perspectives on the world because you're going to meet new people who think differently from you, and it's all around good for you. And the last reason, I guess I'll say, is because it gets you out of your old routine. You know, if you feel stagnant, well, do something new, do something different. And I guess I'm going to bring this back to my fight to end cancer boxing, which I will never, ever shut up about. So if you're sick of it, too bad. If you are new here, I did a charity boxing match last year, and I trained for 5 months, and I fought in a ring in front of 500 people. Like, I boxed, like I punched someone in the head, and I won. So that experience just opened my eyes to so much. That was scary to me. Boxing? Fighting in a ring? I'm sorry, are you kidding me? Absolutely freaking not. Except I said yes. So then it became, okay, I'm afraid of this. How am I going to get there? And I had to figure out, how to get over that fear by training, by, again, expanding my comfort zone. Through this experience, I met so many people, and it really gave me this sense of purpose that got me out of my comfort zone. So all really good things, okay? So who should you do new things with? Obviously, maybe your friends, your partner, maybe you are in a long-term relationship. Freshen it up. Go do something new together. I think that's such a great way to kind of refresh, or rekindle a spark. I don't know. I'm saying this as someone who's been single for so long, so don't take my word for that. But I mean, it makes sense, right? Try something new with your partner. You see a different side to them, perhaps. Family. Okay. My mom and I started a puzzle that I got her for Christmas, and now that's going to be our new thing because it's 1,500 pieces, and just sorting them took us 3 hours. So that's going to be our new thing, doing a puzzle. See, small example. And of course, solo. You can do things alone. You can do things alone. Push yourself out of your comfort zone. And so, yeah, let's get into the list. Okay, number 1, you should try a new form of exercise. If you are someone who goes to the gym, you should try yoga or running or weightlifting, Pilates. ClassPass is a good place to go potentially. ClassPass, I think, has, you sign up, you pay a monthly fee, I think, and then you get these credits towards classes. So overall, it's cheaper. If you like doing classes or something that you want to try, again, that's a great way to meet new people. Maybe you start to grab coffee with someone after class, or you ask them about other classes that they are into. So it's a good way to just switch up your routine. I really got into running when I was living in France, and I never thought I'd be a runner, but now I really appreciate running, and that's one thing I'm really excited for. That's going to be a Q2 goal, running again. Yeah, it's going to take me a little while to get there. But yoga is something that I think I would really benefit from as I regain flexibility in my leg, and it's a slow, controlled thing, and I can always modify to my liking. So maybe yoga. Okay, number 2. This one's a fun one. I think that you should train for some sort of competition this year. Okay, that could be like a 10-kilometer run. Maybe it's a hot dog eating contest. I don't know about that. Maybe like a cooking competition, an amateur golf tournament, something with a music festival, or like a amateur music night. It could be even like karaoke. I don't know, but training for some sort of competition. So if you are a musician, look up different music competitions. I don't even know how it works for different things, to be honest, but I'm sure that all these things probably exist. I was super close to doing a 10K run right before I injured my knee the first time. And I've run 10K before, but I've never done a race. So that's something I really want to do. I don't think I'll ever want to do a marathon or half marathon. Like, that kind of grosses me out, but I would love to do a 10K. Number 3, go to a cooking class. I think this would be such a fun date night. Pick a type of cuisine that you don't know a lot about and go to a class. Let them teach you. I think that'd be so much fun. And with that, if you are into like cocktails, there are also cocktail classes. I did a cocktail class for my birthday last year, and it was so fun. Yeah, that was a fun night. But I won't be doing that one because I'm doing sober Q1. But it could be mocktails, like even setting that up. Okay, another thing I want to mention. These are things you could also recreate at home. Maybe you do like a cooking night with your friends at home. And if someone has a nice sized kitchen, you bring the ingredients. You have a little powwow. It could be a cocktail night or a mocktail night. Super fun. Okay, number 4 is a paint night. Again, this is something you could totally recreate at home, but there's a lot of places I know in the city that are, it's like a painting class. You go, you sit with your group. Actually, I did this for a birthday a couple years ago. Oh, it was so fun. But again, this is something you could recreate at home if you have painting supplies. Throw on a Bob Ross video or other YouTube tutorial. Okay, that's a good one. Number 5, a pottery class. Some sort of art class. Do something new. Challenge yourself creatively, I think, is just so fun. Number 6, plan a solo trip. So this could be like a weekend away. It could be like 2 hours away. You could take a train somewhere. It could be a day trip. But I think a day trip is really easy. Well, maybe you've never done a day trip by yourself and it's not easy. So you could work up to like a weekend or a couple days. I really want to do like 3 or 4 days in Quebec by myself. And I've been thinking about this for a while. I feel like I mapped out a trip that I wanted to do in Quebec and I never went. But I think a multiple day one is really good for my comfort zone, because I feel like in a day trip, it's very easy to just not talk to anyone. But if you're away for multiple days and you're doing different things, like you kind of have to talk to people and be forced out of your comfort zone a bit. So I want to challenge myself specifically to do like a little solo trip this year and force myself to be social on that trip. Number 7, explore a small town near you. I love doing this. I will find a little cute town on the map somewhere within like an hour drive, and I'll go there and I'll look up things to do. I'll find a cute coffee shop. I'll take myself for a walk around town, visit different like landmarks that they have. it's just such a fun little solo adventure, a good excuse to switch up your routine. And I've done this especially on weekends where I felt kind of stagnant or frustrated or just not in a good headspace. It's a great way to, again, switch it up, get out, and show yourself that you can do things alone and you don't always need someone to go with you. Number 8, rearrange your furniture this year. So I'm sure you've done this at some point, and if you are anything like me, you spent your childhood trying to quietly rearrange your bedroom at 3 a.m., and your mom would wake up the next morning and say, how the heck did you move your bed across the entire room? You weigh like 60 pounds. Yeah, that was my life. But regardless, switching furniture up could be a good way to refresh your space, reset yourself a bit. Something I like to do in my place is just switch some artwork. If something's not like hanging on the wall, I will kind of switch things around. I recently put up some pots and plants on my windowsill in my main living room, and it just helps add some color to the space, which is nice. Okay, number 9 is to try a new recipe, either weekly or like every other week, whatever works for you. I tend to make the same things for myself that I just know I like, and something I find challenging is cooking for one person because I can't buy all these different ingredients to make all these different meals if I'm just one person. So unless it's something I can like freeze and save for later, I find I only buy a certain amount of produce that I can use for certain types of foods. So once a week I'm trying to, or every other week I'm trying to like pick a recipe in advance that's new, make sure I have those ingredients, and test it out. Another thing you could do this year is learn a new language or practice a language you used to know, but maybe you haven't practiced it in a while. You could do Duolingo. You could get a book to read in that language. I'm currently reading a French book, and I try to watch French TV often, just for when I'm not interacting with anyone in French. It's fun to make sure I have that actively in my life. Number 11, do the thing that you've been wanting to do for the past 2 years, but you've been putting it off. I'm calling you out, okay? I know something's coming to your head. What have you been wanting to do? What have you been wanting to start or try? And you've just been putting it off. You haven't had the motivation. Maybe you feel scared to do it. Maybe you're doubting yourself. This is the year. You should do it. I believe in you. And I don't say that sarcastically, even though it sounds a bit monotone. Do that thing you've been wanting to do. Number 12, read a new genre of book. So if you're not a reader, pick up a book this year. Make yourself a reading list in advance. I did this in 2022, and I read way more than I did last year. So this year I did it again, where I made myself a full reading list that I want to get through this year. But if you are a reader, challenge yourself to read something out of your comfort zone. So if you like to read science fiction, maybe pick up a romance novel. If you always read fiction, maybe you read something nonfiction. What's something you want to learn about? And try to stick with it, even if it's harder to get into right away. Obviously, if you absolutely hate it, pick something else. But I think it's so good to pick, just to pick up and read things that challenge us a little bit, challenge our viewpoints, challenge the way we think, help us see things from a different perspective, because we tend to think it's our way or the highway, or that we are the only, we have the only right way of thinking about things. And, your friends and the people you surround yourself with are probably in some ways similar to you. So I think by reading new things, we can help expand how we see things and just get different viewpoints, which I just think is helpful for growth and makes for a good, well-rounded individual. So that's my list. I feel like I've been talking a lot today, mostly to myself. But yeah, that's my list of new things. What other new things did I miss? Or what would you add to this list? Please comment below. And the last thing I want to leave you with today is a quote that I'm bringing into 2024. And I heard this originally from Eckhart Tolle, who was talking about another spiritual teacher named Jiddu Krishnamurti, who has passed away, but I guess the context is in one of Krishnamurti's last big talks that he had. He was giving away his kind of secret of a peaceful life, and everyone was ready to receive this information. And what he said was, I don't mind what happens. And I think at first people were confused, like, that's it? That's your big revelation? I don't mind what happens. And what Eckhart Tolle highlights in his talk about this quote is the difference between care and mind, and how some languages use the same word for this, but how in English, I don't care what happens versus I don't mind what happens mean different things. So it's not to say you don't care and that nothing matters, but it allows, again, this level of acceptance. I don't mind what happens. I can't control everything, and I'm okay with that. I will allow life to flow where it needs to flow. I will allow myself to make choices that work for me. And if something doesn't work out, I don't mind. And I heard this, probably over a month ago, but it's definitely what I'm bringing into 2024. That's the energy. I don't mind what happens. Like, it's okay. I'll be okay. I will survive. I will begin again, whatever the case. So that's what I'm going to leave you with today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know your ins and outs for 2024 in the comments. What are things that you're bringing in with you, and what are you leaving behind? I'm always inspired to hear what other people have to share. So please leave me a comment and leave me something new that you want to try this year, or that you think I should try. And maybe a favorite quote. What quote are you bringing? We could just make this a big share for everyone. So leave a comment if you feel so inspired. And just a reminder to head to mindsetmatterswithvic.com or click the link below to go check out the free guide download. Because there's a lot of great info in there. Again, it's all about resilience, presence, and gratitude. There's info on each one, what it means to me, and how you can bring it into your life with some actionable practices. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Please leave me some feedback, and I cannot wait to chat with you next time. Ciao!